It's about more than those breathtaking sunrises. More than the future for those we care about. It's about seeing the whole picture and taking a stand. For over half a century, Club 20 has been the voice of Western Colorado.
Hello and welcome, listeners, to the very first episode of our Voices of the Western Slope podcast. My name is Brittany Dixon, and I'm the Executive Director of Club 20, and I will be the main host of this show. We thought it would be very fitting for our first episode to help give you guys a better understanding of who Club 20 is and what we do here on the Western Slope. So, for those that are just listening in and not watching on whatever platform you get your podcasts from, I do want to give the disclaimer that there is a slide deck associated with this episode. So if you're interested in following along with that, I'd like to direct you to our YouTube channel, which you can find at youtube.com/@club204410. And if you have any difficulties there, please go to our website, club20.org, and you can find all the links and everything you might need to know about our organization, find our social medias, and get the information about Club 20 on there as well. Jumping on in to a little bit about Club 20, we did get our start in 1953, so that makes us a 71-year-old coalition of businesses, individuals, and local governments that come together to elevate the voice of Western Colorado. We have 22 counties in our region that you can see on the map here if you're watching along, and we have hundreds of individual and businesses that are members. We are a nonpartisan, nonprofit organization who engages on the critical issues that impact our region at the state and federal levels, which is hard to find sometimes a nonpartisan organization in this day and age of politics. So it is truly what I call the Club 20 magic, and I am very grateful for that. Club 20's mission is to influence policy, provide education, and convene Coloradans in order to uplift and advance the voices of the Western Slope so that we can promote thriving, resilient, and economically healthy communities here. Our purpose is threefold. Number one being to have policy and legislative influence at the state and federal level with Western Slope issues and values in mind, which you'll often hear us refer to as the Western Slope Nexus. Number two is to educate policymakers, Front Range communities, and all Coloradans about the issues facing the Western Slope. And three, to engage the Western Slope in order to solve the increasingly complex challenges facing the region. We are much stronger together than we are apart. Little bit about our structure. The closest organization of sorts that you could compare us to is probably a Chamber of Commerce. Now, it's not exactly like that, but we are a membership-driven organization. So we are also governed by a board of directors, but it is a much larger board of directors than you might think of as your traditional sense. Our board of directors is made up of 3 representatives from each of our 22 counties. Our board helps govern our organization and serves to ensure that Club 20 policy is consistent with the views and values of the entire region. They also help to select our executive committee, which is more your traditional board in a sense. It's a group of 15 leaders who engage with Club 20 staff on the day-to-day operational and strategic decisions for the organization. We also have policy committees, and Club 20's policy efforts are driven by the work of these policy committees. We are incredibly grateful to have subject matter experts that are the chairs of each of these committees, and we have 10 of them, and I'll dive into them a little bit deeper here on the next slide. Last, certainly not least, is the Club 20 staff. We are small but mighty, and it just consists of 2 individuals, myself, the executive director, and Andrea Wilson, the policy and operations director, who you will meet at some point during this podcast. So like I was talking about, we do have policy committees, and this is really the bread and butter. We cover just about every subject under the sun, from agriculture to business to water. Club 20 pretty much has you covered in every area. These committees help to develop our policy statements that the organization takes to guide our advocacy efforts at the state and national levels. We also host a number of events throughout the year to help engage and connect our members to those top-level leaders and to others in different communities that might be going through similar situations. So at the beginning of every year, we host a Voices of Rural Colorado, and we do host that with our sister organizations who together we represent 59 of Colorado's 64 counties. And we like to bring that strong voice of the rural communities to the state capitol to make sure that they don't forget that we're on the outskirts and not just listening to those that are there in the more populated areas. We host a spring conference that provides the opportunity for our members to hear the latest updates from thought leaders, elected officials, appointed officials, and also take the time to honor a few of our members at our annual awards banquet during the spring. The work of our policy committees is truly the heart and soul of our organization. Our 10 policy committees meet twice a year to develop and refine the position statements on critical issues of our region. Those committees meet once in the wintertime and once in the summer, and there's always a virtual option for participation if you're interested in joining us. These summer policy meetings are a great opportunity for you to really see how the sausage gets made here at Club 20 and how we develop policies as a nonpartisan organization that is very diverse even within itself. We host a fall conference that is truly a cannot miss event. Our annual Steak Fry is a Club 20 signature event, and it brings in businesses and political leaders from all across the state. During election years like this year, Club 20 hosts the largest candidate debates in Western Colorado, so our members and community leaders can hear firsthand the priorities of candidates looking to gain election. You can always watch the recording of those events by visiting club20.org. So a little bit about this last year and the legislative session. This past session was absolutely crazy here in Colorado. There were just under 800 bills that were introduced on a variety of topics. Club 20 weighed in on 75 pieces of legislation, and you can see the breakdown of the bills that we engaged on here on the screen. But we were also watching an additional 200. Some of the most notable supports and oppositions that we had was the support of an all-of-the-above energy portfolio and protecting our oil and gas industry. It is truly at the roots that our oil and gas industry and energy in general is here at Club 20. We did also support protecting our ag and private water interests, affordable housing, of course, and funding for rural institutions of higher education so that we can keep talent here in the area. We did oppose tough utility regulation bills and regulations on private delivery company drivers as well. We wrote lots of letters, sent emails, texted, called our legislators back and forth just to make sure that our region's voice was not lost. It's hard sometimes when we're all trying to chime in, so together we truly are much stronger. A little bit about Western Slope culture. Colorado's economy is really reliant on 3 or 4 industries. These industries include farming and ranching, the Agriculture Committee, mining and energy extraction and production, our Energy Committee, and tourism and outdoor rec. Agriculture has a strong heritage here in Colorado in farming and ranching, as well as great depth of natural and organic foods and craft beverages. The state's ag industry is a critical driver of Colorado's overall economy, with food and agriculture products also being imported by more than 130 countries worldwide. Colorado is a leader in the balanced energy economy with abundant natural resources from renewables being wind, solar, geothermal, fossil fuels, and many more. Colorado has a diverse energy portfolio, and it is imperative that we consider the use of all of these resources as we move forward. Throughout Western Colorado's history, there have been a number of resource booms that included gold, silver, coal, and oil shale, other minerals such as molybdenum and uranium. Most of the state's natural resources actually lie west of the Continental Divide, which does tend to cause some tension throughout the state sometimes, strengthening something called the urban-rural divide, which I'm sure you have heard of, and if you haven't, you will hear it plenty of times throughout this podcast. Our tourism and outdoor rec is a true 4-season destination, and it offers unparalleled adventure and recreational pursuits, thriving art scenes and rich cultural heritage, great cuisine, great craft beverages, and 25 renowned ski areas and resorts. The state's breathtaking scenic landscape boasts natural hot springs. We are the headwaters of 7 major rivers, many peaceful lakes and reservoirs, and have a number of national parks and monuments here. We also have 58 mountain peaks that top 14,000 feet, which you might often hear somebody saying they're climbing a 14er. So that's what that means. Colorado is truly a destination at any time of the year, and our communities rely on the tourism dollars to provide economic prosperities for their communities as well. The Western Slope has a Old West spirit and values deep within them. You'll often find this spirit throughout the western part of our state, more so than anywhere else. Our residents love to harness the original attitude of shaping and utilizing the land, while the land also shapes the spirit within them. From what I've experienced, there is nowhere else in Colorado that truly encompasses the landscape and the human culture into their livelihoods truly so intensely. And while Colorado landscapes are always changing, Colorado Humanities' 5 States of Colorado said it best when stating the region's traditions of innovation and determination will serve it well, and its residents will continue to take pride in the good things they have managed to wrest from the land. Rural Colorado. When people think of Colorado, they don't necessarily think of the rural parts. They often think of Denver and perhaps the ski industry to help form their opinion of what the state encompasses. And honestly, it is so much more than that. People often are surprised when they learn that with our 2 sister organizations, we represent the Northeast and the Southeast, and then all of the Western Slope. And a lot of these counties, 59 of the 64 counties in Colorado, are rural in some sort of nature. It truly is just that Denver metro-centric area that is considered more urban in nature. Now, keep in mind that although most of Colorado is more rural, our population is more dispersed throughout the state, making it perhaps convenient sometimes to listen to those areas on issues of concern, more at the metro level than at the more dispersed areas. The issue we run into here is the lack of education and the understanding from people that are located in those highly populated areas, and how critical it is to preserve our Western culture. This is why Club 20 exists, and that's to elevate and educate these voices in a way that will be impactful for everyone. So we often get asked as an organization, what can we do to preserve our Western Slope way of life? And our answer is simple: get involved. There are a number of ways that we can get involved as individuals. There are a number of agencies in state and federal government, rule makings, and engaging processes. Engaging in this process is one of the most impactful ways that you can make your voice heard. We also are deeply rooted in networking. Some of the best networking and educational opportunities happen at our Club 20 annual meetings and other conferences in the community that are happening. A lot of the time here in Grand Junction, which is more central in the region that we represent. There are a lot of civic forums that are open to the public and are a great opportunity to learn and meet more people. And then during the legislative session, you can also reach out to your legislators to express support or concern for a piece of legislation that will directly impact your community. Lobbying elected officials is another great way to get involved in your community. So please reach out to them. Send them emails, call them, talk to them at events if they happen to be at the same one you're at. Let them know what your concerns are. They want to hear from not organizations like ours, but also individuals that they represent. They are truly there to be public servants to you. And then along with the lobbying elected officials, that is just such a great way to get involved in your community. Elected officials love to hear from you guys, like I said, and during election times, you definitely want to make sure that you're electing those thoughtful leaders that are going to be representing them. Do your research, get to know them, ask them the hard questions, and if they can't answer them, maybe that's a sign that they shouldn't, or they're not ready to be in that seat. Create that relationship with them so you can make those phone calls during the legislative session, and they'll listen to you truly. And with that, that's everything that I have for you guys on Club 20. But I do want to say, you know, Club 20 got its start as a organization to get rural roads paved. And we're going to talk about this more in our next episode with our first guest of the show, Greg Walcher, who used to be the former president of Club 20 and has a great wealth of knowledge of information. But I hope today's info about Club 20 talk will be helpful to all of you here that are listening in. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us at any time. We always love to hear from you, and we hope to see you at our next event. Thanks for tuning in. We are excited to see what's in store for this podcast and the great topics that we will cover. If you're interested in learning more about the work that we do, check out our website. Last but certainly not least, I would like to also invite all of you to take a look at our upcoming Western Colorado candidate debates. These debates will take place in September and are hosted in partnership with Colorado Mesa University and the Daily Sentinel. Every even-numbered year, Club 20 hosts the largest debates on this side of the state and include all of the positions that are up for election that year. We get to watch candidates debate from the Colorado Senate and House districts, State Board of Education, federal Senate and congressional races, and more. During gubernatorial years even, the candidates running to become the next governor of our beautiful state of Colorado will stand on our stage and tell us why they believe they should represent the entire state. If you're unable to join us in person, these debates will also be live streamed as well as available to watch after the fact. Check out our YouTube channel for previous year's recordings if you're interested in learning more. You can find out all of this information on our website or by calling our office.
Because our way of life is worth protecting. Join Club 20 today. Visit club20.org to learn how.